If you're sending cold emails or DMs and getting ignored, this video is going to change that. I used just one cold email and a follow-up Instagram DM strategy to land a $5,000 web design client. No ads, no big following, and certainly no fancy portfolio. I'll show you the exact message that I sent, how I picked the right business, and what turned it into a paid project. So stick around, you learn the small changes that make people to actually pay you. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Olisa, and I'm a web designer. I help entrepreneurs optimize their websites for better conversions. I've also been making videos on this channel about strategy, design, and no-code tools. So if that's your vibe, then you're in the right place. So a while ago, I talked about how I find web design clients on Instagram. And I had a lot of questions from you guys asking me to show the exact process in real time. So in this video, you're not just going to get what I did, you'll understand why it worked and how also you can replicate that. By the way, I'll link the video in the description so you can check it out after this video. Now, before we dive into break down the script that I sent, let's first of all talk about the niche that I chose and why. So the niche that I chose was the beauty and the wellness niche. Now, I chose this because I already had prior experiences working in those niches. I used to own a dropshipping store back in 2018 where I sold beauty products, and I was quite successful with all of that. So when I transitioned into web design, it was quite easy to focus on that as I already knew what was working in this particular field and what wasn't working. I knew the criteria to judge a business that was going to last and sell out. And most importantly, I knew how to put those things in place. So my prior experience was majorly the big factor in deciding the niche that I went into as I went into web design. So now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about what I sent and how it worked out. So this is the email that I sent, and I'm going to break it down into structures, and it has three structures basically. It has the pain point section, it has the personalization section, and it has a section where it prompts them to sort of take an action. What I did was basically to do a proper research in terms of who I am trying to send this email to. So what I ensured was the fact that I made sure that I looked for the business owner, as they were the people who were the decision makers of any particular business that I'm sending out emails to. But what made this one work so well was the fact that I made sure that I reached out to the business owner. I made sure that I researched her as well. I made sure that I knew exactly what other businesses that she had and how she was willing to move forward. Basically, what I did in this email was that I had to personalize an image to suit them. And also, most importantly, I had to provide value. And when I talk about value, I'm talking about auditing their website and understanding what was working for them and what was not working. And with this particular business, they had a lot of issues. And that meant that I needed to do an extensive research to understand why the website was bad, why it wasn't ranking on Google. And, just from the outsider's perspective, why a lot of things were not working. And that was why I did this. And I sent them this email. Now, if you look at the first section of the email, sort of like a personalization part, where I sort of like congratulated them and a little bit about how I found them, just not to be like a random creepy email or a lot of scam email that people receive in their inbox. So I made sure that I sort of told them where I came from and made sure that they understand, sort of give them an applause for the efforts that they put in so far in their business, but also told them that there were some places that they needed to work much better on. And that led to the second part where I sort of told them what the actual problem was with their website. And I made sure that I spelled it out completely in the second part, telling them the issues that I found on the website, because remember, I had to do a proper auditing of the website. I had to use the website myself and make sure that things were working properly. And the things that weren't working, I pointed it out. And that was basically what I did in the second section. And not just only did I point these things out, I made sure that I also preferred solutions. So if I'm telling you, for example, that your logo is way too large and your logo is supposed to be in a particular proportion, I'm also giving you the right proportions. Now, I understood that these were business owners and they were not tech people. So most of these changes, they probably wouldn't even know how to fix them. And at the end of the day, they're going to need to hire to do all of that. Now, my job or my goal now is to position myself as that someone who they will eventually get to hire. But then that's further down the line. So I make sure that I sort of understood what those pain points are, and I pointed out what those pain points and also pointed out solutions for them to be able to solve those problems. Ultimately, that led to the final part where I sort of told them that I can also do these things for you to save you a whole lot of time. Also put in like a link to make a call, or in this case, wait for them to first of all reply before sending out a link, just to make it a little bit more interactive. So it depends on how you want to go with this. Now, there are different ways you can go with it, but however you choose to go with it, the most important thing, make sure that we have this middle section where we basically talk about the main problems that their business was facing and also the solutions that we are preferring for those businesses. So it's very, very important that these things are listed out. Going forward, it's going to enable them to be able to hire you and also see you as an authority in the industry. So when you put out those things that are wrong with their website, tell them how to solve those particular problems, what you're doing is that you're putting in their mind that you are an expert in this field. I'm not just an expert, but you are an authority in this field. So they will more or less likely listen to you because, first of all, they are not all about conversions. They're just business owners who are trying to make a living and sell products. So another thing that you will notice with this cold email is that I kept the cold email short. No long intros, no servicing list. I didn't talk about myself. I didn't talk about, oh, I'm a web designer. I can get you this. I can build this, or we've built that in our company. We've done yada, yada, yada. Just real feedback. One thing that they could fix. Couple of things that they could fix, and then I followed up with a DM on Instagram. So basically, it's not just about sending this email. I also sent an additional DM on Instagram talking about how I sent them an email so that they get to understand that this is the real person. This is the real person who actually sent that email that they received a while ago. And also, it gives them the opportunity to vet me, sort of look at my profile and see the works that I've done, see the things that I've put there, the teachings that I have there. And it sort of like, makes me to be more authentic, as now they can put a face to the email that they received prior. And that was exactly what worked with this particular client. So after sending that particular DM, then 24 hours later, I got a reply. So now that I got a reply, it meant that my email was well received and the tactics actually worked. Now it's time to conquer their objections and answer any questions that they have. And most importantly, I didn't put them under pressure. I basically gave them a lot of space, enabled them to ask a lot of questions. And of course, they had a lot of questions. And with those questions came so many objections. There were objections like, oh, you're in a different country. Oh, it's a scam. I get a lot of these emails. It's a scam. Even if we implement all of this, what is the guarantee that everything is actually going to work? There was just a whole lot. But that was good because sending the email was the icebreaker and ensured that I got behind those walls. And now I am in a conversation with them and they are talking to me and they're also voicing out their frustrations. Maybe they've had frustrations from prior people that worked with them and sort of they scammed them, or the results that we're looking for wasn't what they got. Now I have the opportunity to hear all of that and prefer better solutions. And what you have to understand is that people book when they feel understood. I didn't really pitch to them immediately because they had a whole lot of questions, a whole lot of objections. What I did was that I opted to show them more examples of the work that I've done prior. So now she was curious. So basically what I used was the curiosity and value, not pressure. Now, as this went on, did they have questions? Yes, they did. And you might be thinking, so if you prefer this solution, did that make you to actually earn $5,000 with this particular client? Now, the answer is no, because with the initial value that I provided in the previous email, what I highlighted was a couple of changes that they can make on their website, and then they can triple their earnings and their customer base. But those changes didn't warrant a whole total revamp of the whole website. Matter of fact, it was just a couple of little changes here and there. So that meant that I couldn't charge them a premium. So what happened was that this particular email helped me to get into their system, to even understand their business more and actually provide the real value for them. And this real value meant that they now in turn opted for me to work on other businesses. So this particular client in this case had other businesses that they wanted me to work on. after we've done this particular business. And that's the secret to earning higher as a web designer on a particular project. Until today, she still refers me to other clients as well. So how can you copy all of this and reframe it into your own frame and how you find clients online? Now, if you're starting with no audience, that's not a problem. If you're also sending out emails and you're not getting replies, or you're being ignored or ghosted, that's also not a problem. What you need to do is that you need to make 5 changes. And these 5 changes are going to improve your client sourcing tactics. Number 1 is to pick the right niche. First of all, you need to understand the niche that you're working in. Make sure that you have a full sense of, or a full grasp of what is happening in that particular niche. If it's the construction company, make sure that you understand for construction businesses what is more important to them. And when people are searching for those construction businesses online, what they're actually looking for. And when you're sending out your emails to those businesses, make sure that those things are in place. Secondly is auditing the brand. Make sure that you provide value. I can't stress this enough. Move with value first. Audit the brand. Highlight the changes that they need to make and how they also need to make those changes. Not just highlighting what they will do, also tell them how to do it. Now, don't fret and think, oh, if I tell them how to do it, then they're just going to do it and they won't hire me. Don't worry. These guys are business owners. All they care about is business. They're not into tech, or they're not techie. So if you provide the right value, they'll end up hiring you to do the work. Number 3, personalize the message. I can't stress this enough. If you're sending an email to someone, make sure that you personalize this email. Make sure that from your research, while you're researching the brand, you're not just researching the brand alone, you're also researching the business owners. And make sure that you personalize the information that you're sending out. And lastly, position your value. Never lead with pricing. Don't send them an email and start talking about yourself and say, oh, I'm a web designer from this company, we help so and so. No, lead with value. Tell them what is wrong. Don't go there and start wasting their time. Immediately give them what is wrong and how they can solve those particular problems. And most importantly, make sure that you have an avenue for them to reach out to you or to book a call. And if they reply you and have further questions, make sure that you have answers to those questions. And in your answers, always lead with value. Make sure that you sort of address their objections. Make sure that you answer all their questions, and make sure that you even answer the questions that they do not even know that they need to ask. And when you cover all of these areas, then there's nothing left for them to do other than to trust you and to give you out the job. Now, if the job meant that you're working on this particular project and it's not all about full web revamp, make sure that you have pricings for certain things. Maybe it's just a one-pager, maybe it's just a sales page, maybe it's a landing page, maybe it's conversion-based statistics. Make sure that you charge them, or you keep your pricings when you eventually give them a quote, according to the value that you're providing. So if you do this every day, one email, one DM, or send out a couple of emails and a couple of DMs to a couple of businesses every day, and you actually choose the right niche, the right people to send out these emails to, you can actually book clients every other week. So now that you've seen the whole process from sending and targeting the right lead to booking multiple projects with the same clients. So if this helped you, imagine what will happen if you implemented this for a whole month. Imagine the capabilities, imagine the changes to your own personal finances. So let me know in the comment section, what part of these processes that you're struggling with the most? Is it lead acquisition? Is it writing emails or getting replies? Is it follow-up DMs? Or is it how to lead with value? Now, if you want to check out the exact cold email template that I used or DMs that I used, you can find the link in the description. You can also check out my videos where I talk about how I find clients directly on Instagram, the step-by-step process that I use. I'll link it somewhere in the video, and I'll see you in those videos.